What's going on, everybody? If you're seeing this page, that means the official Torian Rain Reloaded merch store is now available. To get access to the store, make sure you go ahead and click the store tab on my YouTube channel. From there, you will be able to see all the merch that is available. We have mugs, shirts, hoodies, joggers, and so much more to come. All original designs made by yours truly, Torian Rain Reloaded. Now go ahead and get your merch today, and you can feel nothing in style. Oftentimes I come across stories where I tell you that where the subject matter is a mother, I should say, if you want to call her a mother, where she commits some of the most heinous acts against her children. And I always say that this person's probably one of the worst mothers ever. I'm gonna have to stop doing that, because every time I say that, it's always one that comes around and usurps that previous one, such as the one I'm gonna talk about right now. So the woman that you see in this picture, her name is Veronica Youngblood, and I'm gonna be honest, the only way I knew about this story is because I follow a DMV page on Instagram, and I didn't even know this event even occurred, and it happened in northern VA, like I think in Fairfax or somewhere around that area. And I didn't even know that this had even occurred until yesterday when I first came across the story. So this woman's name is Veronica Youngblood, and she just got sentenced to 78 years in prison for taking out her daughters, both of her daughters. Her daughters were aged 15 and 5. Now, the reason that it said that she did it was because of a revenge plot to get back at her ex-husband. But the matters and the means in which she did in order to do it and accomplish it sounds like or looks like something straight out of a horror movie. A Northern Virginia mother who sedated her two daughters with melatonin-laced gummy bears before fatally shooting them was sentenced Friday to 78 years in prison. Veronica Youngblood, aged 38, was arrested in August 2018 after shooting daughters Sharon Castro, aged 15, and Brooklyn Youngblood, aged 5, in their apartment in McLean. Castro survived long enough to call 911 and tell a dispatcher that she had been shot by her mother. Jurors had heard a recording of that call during a 2-week trial that was so traumatic that jurors inquired about whether they could receive trauma therapy. Youngblood told detectives that she planned to kill them and herself following a protracted custody dispute. Ron Youngblood, her ex-husband, told the Associated Press after the hearing that he had wanted to move to Missouri with both daughters but had reluctantly agreed to take only Brooklyn after his ex-wife objected. Youngblood presented an insanity defense at trial, but it was rejected. The jury recommended 78 years in prison after hearing testimony during sentencing that Youngblood grew up in poverty in Argentina, was physically and sexually abused as a child, and resorted to sex work as a teenager to support her older daughter. Before she was sentenced Friday, Youngblood spoke for more than 30 minutes about her daughters and the difficulties she had raising them. "I've been a good mother, but something happened. I don't know how to explain it," she told the judge through a Spanish interpreter. Something exploded in my mind." Defense lawyers had asked that the two murder sentences run concurrently instead of consecutively, which would have reduced the sentence from 78 years to 42 years. Fairfax County Court Judge Randy Bellows said he saw no reason to reduce the jury's recommendation. He had no ability under state law to increase it. "Mothers and fathers have many responsibilities, but none is more grave than keeping their children safe," he said. Tragically, their mother became the instrument of their death. Prosecutor Kelsey Gill emphasized that the killings were premeditated and that Youngblood bought the gun she used a week before. And that definitely is premeditated, because now knowing that she purchased the gun the week before she actually did it, and she gave her daughters melatonin laced gummies, and we all know melatonin helps you sleep. It makes you it's basically a sleeping agent. So she basically wanted her daughters to be in a state where they could not move or immovable when she committed the act. So it was definitely premeditated, even before learning about her purchasing the gun the week before she actually did it. There really aren't words that can describe the depravity with which Ms. Youngblood planned and carried out the execution of her children, she told the judge. Public defender Dawn Budarak said she expects Youngblood to appeal. Ron Youngblood, who was Brooklyn's father and played a significant role in rearing Sharon, said he chose a seat in the courtroom where he could not see his ex-wife because it was so painful to listen to the words of that woman who killed his daughter. daughters. He said that he knew his ex-wife bore animosity toward him, but never once did I imagine that she could do anything like that to our girls. Fairfax County Commonwealth's attorney Steve Descano, whose office prosecuted the case, said in a statement that Friday's hearing, "There is no outcome that can give these children back the lives that were taken from them, but today's sentence is a measure of justice for their family." And that's the entire article right there. That is very, very disturbing to read. And the fact that the jurors literally said that they had to receive or felt like they needed to get trauma therapy after listening to the call that the daughter made to 911 is saying a lot. And that's why a lot of people are weary about doing jury duty, not because they just want to get out because they don't want to do it. It's because imagine having to hear stuff like that. Like, you have to sit in there and hear that. And the people that were there, such as her and the father, have to, well, she's going to have to relive that because she was there when it was going on. And the father, he may never have heard it, and that might have been his first time. Imagine your last words that you hear of your daughters is of them dying and saying that their mother shot them. That's not a last memory that you want to have of your children. Usually, if you are going to lose a loved one, you want your last memory of them to be a happy one, not a tragic and traumatic one. So I'm glad that they decided not to try to reduce her sentence down to 42 years, even though that still is a long time. But considering the 78 years that she's going to receive, she's going to die in that prison, and rightfully so. At least because if she did the 42 years at her age, she might have had a fighting chance of most likely living out her entire sentence and getting released. But of course, they said she's going to appeal, which is not surprising there. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see her winning not one damn appeal. I honestly don't. I don't see her winning any appeal that they put before that judge. It's just no way that this woman's going to be able to get any type of sentence reduction, in my honest opinion. In my opinion, if it was up to me, she would have got life in prison. I don't know what the capital punishment laws are in Virginia. I don't know if they have them or not, or they had them and they don't have them anymore. But if there was some on the book, she definitely, in my opinion, would qualify for the chair. In my God honest opinion, for what she did to her own daughters, all to get back at her ex-husband. I'm like, if you have a dispute that's going on with your husband or your ex-husband, let that be between you and your ex-husband. Or if it's like vice versa, if you have a dispute that's going on with your ex-wife, let that be a dispute between you and her. Don't bring your children into this, because they are innocent in all of this. They have nothing to do with what's going on here. And she did that in attempts to get back at her husband. I don't know why so many people do that. That is one of the most spiteful things you can do. If you, like I said, if you have an issue that's going on with you and your ex, let that just be between you two. Handle it like adults and not children, and go from there. It said that she was planning to take herself out, so it was going to basically be a murder-suicide. That's what she was attempting to do. And unfortunately, her plan didn't go all the way through, but it did go through in some capacity, as in she took out her own children to get back at her ex-husband, to basically spite him for wanting to move, because clearly he must have saw something there that was going on with her, and to the point where he probably saw some things that didn't sit right with him, and that's why he said, okay, I got to get out of here and make sure I take my children with me. It said that he tried to take the oldest daughter with him. I don't know why he didn't try to take the other child with him, but either way, he saw something there, and it played itself out with what she ended up doing. But either way, it's still a sad story all the way around. I don't like talking about stories such as these, but they have to be discussed, because you just never know. You never know what's going through somebody's mind, especially when someone could probably present themselves as normal, but you never know what they got going on at home. She probably presented herself as this well-rounded mother and parent to the people in public, but behind closed doors, her ex-husband knew something different. He saw something different in her. The daughters probably did too, to be quite honest. But then again, maybe not. She probably wasn't a mother that abused her children, whether physically or verbally. So it probably just came out of nowhere that this actually did occur. But I hope wherever it is that she is going, she gets the same or more punishment that to receive on her end than she delivered out to her own children.